joy, peace, tranquility, vibrancy, and wellness. Isn't this what you want instead of constant stress? That's what host Rochelle Lawson is going to help you with on Blissful Living. There are many ways to reduce stress, some you may not even know about. Doesn't a little peace and tranquility sound like just what you've been looking for? Relax for a few minutes with Rochelle. She's the queen of feeling fabulous.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Blissful Living. This is the queen of feeling fabulous, Rochelle Marie Lawson, and I can't wait to get into today's show. And I'm going to call today's show the CodeBreaker Show. I want to intrigue you a little bit by that title, because if you're interested in discovering how you can transform your life, how to discover, also if you're interested in learning how to discover the password to unlock the best version of you, and if you're just wanting to improve things or see how you can make things go along in your life just a little bit easier with a lot more understanding and a lot more fun as you engage, as you go down your path to bliss, I like to say, then you definitely want to stay tuned. And I'm going to invite you right now to pull up a favorite chair, find a nice place to sit so you won't be distracted. You might want to get a piece of paper and something to write with, and of course your favorite beverage. Mine, as you all know, is having a nice cup of tea, but yours could be something else. So I invite you to do that right now, because you're not going to want to miss a minute of today's show. Our guest is wonderful, and what she has to share with us is going to enlighten all of us in so many different ways. So with that being said, let me first of all thank our sponsors, Blissful Living for You. You want to check out Blissful Living for You at blissfullivingforyou.com. Health, healing, wellness is their priority for you. And if you're looking to improve some aspects in your life with regards to your health and well-being, how you're feeling, maybe strengthening up the power of your mind or accelerating your wealth factor, then you want to check out Blissful Living for You. Next, the sponsor, All Day Cable Incorporated, has been a sponsor of ours for a very long time, and they're a company with longevity and stability. They're a telecommunications installation company located in Silicon Valley, and they've been in business for just about 30 years. They've survived the ups, the downs, the dot-com buzz, the real estate fiasco, everything, and they're still here today to serve you, to make the right connections for you when it comes to your telecommunications. So if you're in need of any voice, data, fiber optic wiring, wireless system, audio, video, speaker system, anything that has to do with how we communicate today with our clients locally, nationally, and globally, then you definitely want a company like All Day Cable Incorporated to definitely hook you up when it comes to your telecom. You can check them out at alldaycableinc.com. Now, let me tell you a little bit about today's guest. Now, I hope I intrigued you with regards to just anytime we have an opportunity to discover stuff about us and our journey here on life that can just possibly make things a little bit more easier, lead us to more success than not, then I'm all for it, and I'm sure you are too, especially when someone comes recommended, or I should say have a very nice testimonial from the world-famous and very, very nice guy, Jack Canfield, then you kind of want to pay attention, because these are thought leaders and transformational people that are here to really help us as we travel down our path to bliss. So today's guest is Sandra Biskind, and let me tell you a little bit about her. Now, high-frequency breakthrough, a life without limits is kind of how Sandra rolls. She is a global thought leader, an international speaker, spiritual mentor, and a #1 best-selling author. Sandra has a unique gift to identify and eradicate the unconscious programs that undermine success, instantly amplifying her clients' ability to live freely and thrive. Now, together with her husband, Daniel, they created a multi-global award-winning retreat in New Zealand named the world's best luxury coastal hotel in 2010. And you guys know I love to travel. I travel all over the world, and I have yet to go to this part of New Zealand where they've had their luxury coastal hotel. Now, Sandra Biskind offers a rare combination of business savvy, transformational leadership, and soul enrichment. With her down-to-earth wisdom coupled with her multidimensional gifts, she creates profound, sustainable shifts. Now, who would not want that? Now, let me tell you this. Known for solving unsolvable problems, as the infamous Jack Canfield said, she's a profound healer, trainer, speaker, and author who does some incredible transformation work. Jack has experienced her work and found it truly life-changing, so much so that he had her work with his entire staff for the magical results that she can help us all obtain. Now, she has an amazing ability to shift energy and remove unconscious blocks on a very deep level. Using her unprecedented laser-like techniques, Sandra takes the brakes off your unconscious, freeing you to accelerate into the thrilling experience of a life without limits. And so I want to take this moment to welcome Sandra Biskind to Blissful Living. Welcome, Sandra. How are you?
Oh, I am even more wonderful now after, hearing all of that come from your beautiful mouth, Rochelle, and so excited to be on Blissful Living because that's what it's all about. You can't have blissful living if you're bogged down by unconscious programs. So, you've got to feel free to be in bliss. And, I'm excited to be on your show today. Thank you.
I'm so happy to have you and so excited. I have some really good friends that I met on a cruise a couple years ago, and they are from New Zealand. I think they're from the North Island, but they live in Australia in the Gold Coast. But they go back and forth to New Zealand and Australia. So it's really cool when I meet my friends from down under, so to speak, and, have this instant bond and connection, which is what I feel that I have with you, because I think you've just done some wonderful things in the world. And I can't wait for you to share with us some of the amazing stuff that I've discovered in your book. But I want the listeners to discover some of the amazing stuff as well. And yes, you guys, her and Daniel wrote a wonderful book, and we're going to share more about how you can get your hands on the book before we let Sandra go. But right now, I want to just dive in and ask you, Sandra, a couple of questions. And what I want to start with is, you're on a very different energetic frequency than most of us. How did this come about? How did you discover? I'm really into energy, and I just love it when I connect with people that are. But how did you discover this wonderful gift that you have with energy and energy frequencies?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's kind of a bit of a long answer. I'll try and get it right down for you. But when I was 3, I started having conversations with divine beings, and Jesus being one of them. And I would ask my mama, what does Jesus talk to you about when you go to bed at night? And she would deflect because that wasn't a part of our upbringing. We weren't church people at all. And she didn't even know where I could get that name from. It's like, hang on, how do you know about this man?
Right.
And she said, well, I don't, what does he talk to you about? And I told her. And so obviously from a young age, I have agreed to be here and to be a conduit and to be able to access what physicists and scientists call the 0-point field. And that's the field of all human information. And by the way, all humans can do this. It's just that I have really developed it and diligently grown this ability. So obviously 3 was when it started. I almost died at the age of 18 when my right ovary burst, and I had what I was later to understand was a full enlightenment experience. And it was from that experience that I understood that was the only thing that was going to stop suffering. And then, after that, 2 months later, my mother was given 18 pints of the wrong blood group after a hysterectomy, and she died. So this is like, I almost died, and then she did. And so at the age of 18, I know we've all had major turning points, right? But that was a big course correction and turning point for that little 18-year-old. And I had to leave school, and I went in to help my father take over his business, the fashion business. And within 2 years, I had sold the business for my father, had another life-threatening situation, and at the age of 20, married a man 10 years older than me. And so here I was, but I had so many more surgeries, and I ended up at the age of 27, and this is where I'm getting to the point, really. Yes, and I had a lot of spiritual experiences with my mother, who was constantly appearing to me and giving me advice and looking after me. And so when I got to 27, I finally got up the courage to leave what had become an abusive marriage. And I left everything that we had worked for, my house, my car, my cat, everything, and our businesses. And I was there alone, and I knew I was in trouble. And I bet a lot of you have come to this point where you've gone, hang on a minute, I am in trouble here. I need help. And I didn't want help that would, just help me survive. I wanted help that I knew I could survive and thrive. And that's when I discovered meditation. And and that's
I love
when I
meditation.
And that's when I discovered through meditation that I could master the art of changing my frequency. And so I really understood very clearly that it was when I changed my frequency, the way my energy was vibrating, that everything else in my world was changing. My business changed, my relationships changed, everything. And also, of course, once I was able to master my own frequency, I was also then able to even connect even further with the 0-point field, and I started getting the most profound information for people and for myself. So that's kind of a bit of a long story, but it's been my whole existence. I can't even imagine living without this deep spiritual understanding and knowing of who we all really are, because the truth is that every single one of us is a profoundly perfect divine being. And the only thing stopping us from knowing, it is wow, isn't it? And that's the truth. And the only thing stopping us from knowing that and living it are the unconscious programs that have been conditioned into us. They've been handed down to us from ancestors. We've brought them through with us from past lives. And so when we keep, our buttons keep getting pushed, and we keep making the same mistakes over and over again, and we get hooked into negativity, pain, and, playing these ego mind games, it's actually really not our fault. We have to understand.
Hold on, Sandra. Hold on, because I got so many questions that have just now popped up, and I know the listeners are too. You mentioned something. So, like the whole story about you and, what happened to you, and then your mom having, I can't, as a nurse and Ayurvedic nurse practitioner, I can't even imagine that happening, right? I'm just like, oh my God, oh my goodness, right? With what happened to your mom. But on your journey to discovering you have this gift with the energetic frequency and how you discover it through meditation is amazing. I love meditation. I've been doing it for a long time and kind of share some of the similar spirit. As you're talking, I'm like, oh my God, that happened to me. But just some of the similar experiences. And I started meditating probably when I was a teen. And then when I became a nurse, became a certified meditation specialist because I felt it worked really, really, really well for me. But also in the context of what you said was these unconscious blocks that we all have that we don't know about. Can you enlighten the listeners just a little bit as to what you mean by the unconscious block, because I know there are people out there like, I don't have no block. I don't know what she's talking about. You know what I'm saying?
I can.
So can you just share a little bit?
I can.
I know because I know you've heard that. Share a little bit with the listeners about that.
I love your enthusiasm too, by the way, darling. So what this is that there is not a shadow of a doubt. And by the way, I was in a quantum scientific spiritual expo at the weekend, and there was a physicist there and all of these people who have done, if not more research than what I've done. And the fact is that we have a conscious mind, which is the mind that you use every day, right? And you perceive things and you judge and you do whatever it is you do. However, the unconscious mind that we all have is over 500,000 times greater capacity to process things than the conscious mind. And it processes every single thing that we hear and feel when we're in the womb. It also processes everything that's coming down that's in our DNA. Like we have this information locked in our DNA, and our brain, which is simply a neural processor, it's not the mind. So the brain is always processing what's going on in the mind. And when the unconscious mind doesn't line up with the conscious mind, for instance, if you were to say, I'm going to manifest success on a conscious level, but the unconscious mind goes, hang on a minute, who do you think you are? You don't deserve success. Which one do you think is going to win? Well, obviously the unconscious mind is going to win because it is the most powerful, and it is always running our business, always. And so every single human being has these thought patterns, perceptions. Imagine if you have an event and there's a real emotion around it, and then you make a decision because of that. That decision gets locked into your DNA. It becomes part of your information center. And even though you've totally forgotten about that, because it happened 30 years ago, or in my case, 60 years ago, the unconscious mind, it's always there. And anything can trigger that off to start its little sabotage patterns and programs, anything. So that's why being able to clear out the obstacles in the unconscious, and I love the way you think, oh, well, hang on, I don't have any obstacles, but I have been doing this work for 40 years. I've worked with thousands and thousands of people, and I can tell you that the majority of my private clients are some of the top transformational leaders in the world. Now, you would think, hang on, they've been working on themselves and their business and everything for years and years and years. They've got to be clear, right? Well, the fact is they're not. They're not. And no one is. No one is. Just have a think about this. Michelangelo, when he was asked about how he, came up with this angel and this block of granite, he said, I can see the angel in the stone, and it's my job to just carve away until it's revealed. And imagine how long it took to do that, and how many chipping away to get this angel freed from the stone. So just think about this. That block of stone is our unconscious. And deep within there is the perfection and divinity that we all are. And what we have to do is carve away and get free from the unconscious programs, the events, emotions, and decisions from our past, from our family's past, and from our past lives. And that is a process. But the freer you get, the more free you get, the more successful you become, the more the happier, the more bliss, obviously. I mean, I've got a free meditation for your listeners today, and it's called Bliss Code. So they're going to really love that. Yeah. But, so you can see the unconscious is really running your business. And it's not until we deal with it that we get to really know why we do and say what we do and say, why we react the way we react. And that's exciting, because who is the most important person in your life? It's you.
Exactly.
So, getting to know you and what makes you tick and what makes you, stay, in a place where you're not as successful as you want to be. Maybe you don't have the love relationship that you want. Maybe you've had emotional abuse. Maybe you've just gone through so many surgeries like I had, or you've gone through so many, challenges, and you think, hang on, when is this going to end? And the fact is it's not going to end until you deal with the unconscious programs.
So, okay, I don't want to ask that question just yet with regards to dealing with the unconscious program, but you said something like it could be something you heard when you were 4 or 2,
yes,
and it just gets placed in a little drawer in your, in your processor, right? Your big processor gets placed in a little drawer. But then also that some of the stuff that causes these unconscious blocks can be generational and spring up from, something that happened in a past life or something to that effect. How would someone go about, first of all, how does someone go about recognizing that they may even have blocks? We're in this age of, I like to say, awareness and enlightenment. And I think a lot of people are beginning to become enlightened about certain things. And the things that we were told when we were children about life, there's so much more to it, right? It's not simple. It's not simplex, as we were told as children. It's a lot more complex, and there's a lot more that's involved in it. And sometimes the things that happen in our lives are not necessarily in our control, so to speak, like we think, because of the unconscious blocks that kind of surface up that we don't even know is happening. So how does someone even begin to recognize that they may be suffering from an unconscious block that's circumventing their success?
Yeah. I love it because it's easy. Look, the whole system that we describe in CodeBreaker, which is our new book, is so easy to follow. And one of the things that we say is that if you are feeling fear, negativity, or pain, you've got an unconscious block running in your program, in your computer. So isn't that easy? Okay, hang on, I am feeling fear, anxious, overwhelmed, hey, I'm in pain, things aren't going right for me. That's when you know. The minute you're out of balance, the minute the challenges are mounting, the minute you are not in a place of peace, love, awareness, trust, integrity, neutrality, unity, and mindfulness, the minute you're not there, which, by the way, they're the high-frequency aspects of our true self. And an acronym for that is PLATINUM. And I've just given you the password. I've just given you the password to crack the Enlightenment Bliss code. And so the minute you're not there, you absolutely have an unconscious program running. So isn't that easy? It's like, oh, I'm not happy. I've got a program running. Why am I not happy? What's triggered this off? And if you think about it, sometimes it's definitely something that you've seen your mother do or your father do, or it might be something that your grandparents went through the Depression, for instance, and they saved everything, or they were always hungry. And I've had this happen before where somebody's been overweight and never been able to get back into that really healthy, vital place. And they had this program running from ancestors that were in the Depression. And it was like, oh, no, there's never enough to eat. And so therefore they ate all the time. And, the minute we cleared out that, they were able to absolutely get back into that vital, healthy place where their weight came into balance for them. So you can see how important these programs are in who we become and how they run our emotional, particularly our emotional life, because quite frankly, these unconscious programs, this information only affects you if there's an emotional charge around them. Like obviously when her parents were in there was an emotional charge around being hungry. I mean, let's face it. If you're hungry every single day and night, that's an emotional thing. And so that's why that became something that was passed down. And, so if you even go through something right now, an event and you become quite emotional about it, then you've got it. Then you know you're locking something in, and it's really important to go into that emotion and go, hang on, but why am I feeling this emotion? And nip it in the bud. Yeah.
That is, you know what, for me, first of all, listeners, I just want to say she gave several huge nuggets of gold. If we were back in the gold rush days, you'd be rich with the nuggets of gold to share. Because, you know, when you said that whenever there's something that, say, we're out of balance, we, you know, get angry, we're feeling fearful, we're anxious, I don't know, disconnected, so to speak, just not in our natural state of being. And then something happens and there's an emotional charge behind it. You're fearful because you didn't have enough to eat, or you fear that you're not going to have enough to eat, or you're, as they call, stingy or very a miser, so to speak. You don't spend any money because you fear that if you spend money, you know, there's something behind all of that. Whenever we do that, whenever we get into the state of, quote unquote, being unbalanced, no matter what it is, and there's an emotional charge behind it, that's when we can tell that an unconscious block has surfaced for us. That's huge, because there are some things, me personally, as holistic and, you know, meditative and, you know, all the good things that I do, there are still certain things that trigger me and that will take me from 0 to 100, like in the angry part, you know, my pitta should really goes to fire. And it's like, and sometimes this is like the stupidest, littlest things. But then when I sit back and think about it, it's something that, and when it sets me off, it's like automatic. I'm not even thinking about it. But when I sit back and think about it, it's something that I saw or witnessed when I was a kid. Like, you know, something that we kids used to do that used to just piss my dad off. And so when I see it replicated in me or in my life or in my experience, it just pisses me off. And it's like I'm channeling that energy. I don't want to channel that energy, but it just happens because, you know, it's this unconscious programming. As kids, you don't even know you're getting, but you get, right? And so
that's exactly right.
It's just it's like that's a huge nugget of gold. If anybody has any issues behind overeating or undereating or depriving themselves or being fear-based or, you know, all that kind of stuff, it's a great way to take a look at where is this coming from? Is it coming from you, or is it coming from something you experienced, or is it something from a past life? You know, definitely something to stop and pay attention to. I love it. Okay, so, oh my gosh, she's like,
Do you know what? Part of the system in CodeBreaker, one of the parts of the system is inquiry, which means when we ask ourselves very powerful questions, that's when we get the powerful answers. So the other thing is there's a way of discovering some of these programs by asking 4 questions. Now, I have to tell you that when I left my husband, and one of my staff members came up to me in my fashion boutiques and said, Sandra, you know, we never know what we're going to get with you when you come to work. You're going to be angry, happy, sad, a bitch. And I was like, wow, I was completely had no awareness. By the way, there's the awareness is the A in platinum. I had no awareness that I was affecting my staff and the people around me because of my emotional state. So every morning, rather than going to blame, complain, and justify, which I could have at 27, you know, I've got failing health, there's a world financial crisis. Like, I could have listed off like 10 things. Instead, I thanked her, and every morning before I went into one of my boutiques, I would sit in my car. This is really important because I've taught this to business people all over the world. I would sit in my car and I would take a deep breath and I would ask myself 4 questions. And these 4 questions were responsible for me changing my frequency to such a degree that when I went into my shops, my staff wanted me there, clients were coming out of the woodwork, and suppliers were backing me 100%. I actually went from below 0 at the age of 27 in my business to being a millionaire 3 years later. And it was also these questions and being able to change my frequency that helped me through losing everything in the next global financial crisis. So I want to give you these little when you feel a fear, negativity, or pain, and you know you've got a program running, and you know something's going on, you ask yourself, what am I feeling? At that stage, I said, I feel lousy, lonely, angry, upset, and I don't want to be in my own business. And then what am I focused on? That's the second question. What am I focused on? And I was totally focused on the fact that I had suppliers ringing me every half an hour asking me for money that I didn't have. And it was traumatic on so many levels. Mm-hmm. Third question, what do I want to feel? And that was, that's when I went, hang on a minute. I want to feel happy about being in my business again. That was an obvious answer, right? And then what focus will serve that? So this is the big kahuna. What focus will serve that? And I took another deep breath, and this is what really got me neutral. I realized that I had to focus on the love and gratitude that I had for my own creativity and wonder at creating these businesses in the first place, at having fantastic staff, wonderful clients, and yes, even for those suppliers. And I got out of the car, and it was almost like I was, I walked into that store, and they knew exactly what they were going to get. They were getting this person who was on such a high frequency that even though we were in tough times, nothing was shaking me because I had neutralized the emotional charge by getting myself back into where I needed to be. That's why, being able to control your frequency and the way you vibrate in the world is probably the number one turning point in any form in your business, your relationships, and your whole life. And that's what our work, that's what our work is all about, and that's what CodeBreaker is about. That's its job.
Say that one more time. Okay, you guys, listen up. You definitely want to write this one down, a huge nugget of gold. Say that one more time for us, Sandra, please.
So being able to change your frequency and be free of those unconscious programs is the number one thing that you must focus on in order to be the most successful, to have the business success you want, the relationships you want, whatever it is you want in your life. You are not going to manifest the life you want without being able to change your frequency. And that doesn't mean change your frequency for the worse. It means changing your frequency to show up as the best version of who you are. And we all have a best version of who we are. We're very rarely living it. Even when we meditate, no matter what it is we do, because we're so hooked into these programs and a way of being, like your anger dropping in. Right. Can you imagine if you got free, like next time you're about to get angry, you go, okay, I'm on that anger frequency, which is a very low frequency, by the way. When you're on that, what I want you to do is keep your mouth shut. So rather than do what you normally do, take a deep breath, keep your mouth shut, and ask yourself those 4 questions. Like, what am I feeling? What am I focused on? What do I want to feel, and what focus will serve that? And all of a sudden, the answer to number 4 will change your frequency, and that will change what you are going through in the moment. You'll have better health, better relationships, be happier, and be able to extend the amount of bliss that you can have in your life.
Ooh, I love it. Wow. I really, really like that. I've been doing this meditation, so to speak, with regards to just knowing that I'm in control of my emotions, right? At any given time, you're in control of your emotions. If you're in a negotiation and it's getting a little tense, you're always in control of your emotions. If you are having a conversation with a friend and it's getting a little wayward, you're always in control of your emotions, right? No matter what, if you're at the gym and you can't lift as much as you did yesterday and you want to get pissed off, you're always in control of your emotions. So it's been working, but I think what you just shared with us is just going to amplify the work that I've already been doing, which is to keep my mouth shut, which probably has been a problem.
Hey, by the way, it's almost everybody's problem.
Right? Keep my mouth shut. and then ask myself the 4 questions. And as you were saying that, and I'm going through the questions, it's, again, there's always say there's a reason that people come together, particularly people that are like-minded and are on the same thought process. People come into your life when they're supposed to come into your life. And so the fact that we're having this conversation, and I've been doing frequency things, since I was a little kid as well, and having connections with divine entities as well, and then speaking to you, and it's just like, oh my God, there's someone out there just like me who lives far away from me, but we have the same kind of thought process. You're just more elevated than I am. When I ask myself the 4 questions, they just feel so right. I can't explain it. I can't. It's almost like, you're doing that calculus test or you're doing that 3rd grade spelling test, but you're trying to figure out how to do this one thing, and then all of a sudden you pull yourself back, and then the answer comes, and it's like, oh my God, this is perfect. So I'm saying this because I want the listeners to really understand that even though Sandra shared these 4 questions with us that seem like so basic and like who wouldn't think of that, I guarantee none of you or very few of you out there listening has ever thought about doing this when you're feeling out of balance, because right now you're just discovering what that out of balance, what that fear, what that pain, what that whatever you're going through that's not having you in your state of bliss is all about. And you can help yourself change those frequencies by, again, using Sandra's 4 questions that she shared with us. What am I feeling? What am I focused on? What do I want to feel? And what focus would that serve? And so that, my friends, is just amazing. People pay thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to therapists to get the answers that she just gave us for free. That's why I'm saying they're nuggets of gold, and you won't be able to get them anywhere else. Now, I've been just really enjoying your book. I'm really, of course.
I'm so glad. It was decades in the writing and, 5 years, editing, writing it, and it's our legacy work. It's the work that Daniel and I are leaving to the world, and everything we do, all of our live events, our online courses, everything we do comes out of this book. So we're training people in this system, in this book.
I love it. And you guys, so I want you to know she shared something with us with regards to her system, and I don't want to say system, but because it's so much deeper than that. It's so much, and I'll let her give the correct term as to what we should be utilizing. But the CodeBreakers, in CodeBreakers, you do discover the password to unlock the best version of you, which she did say was platinum. And if you're a gal like me or a guy that likes nice things, who would not want to envelop and cocoon themselves in platinum? I know I would.
Exactly. Well, it's the highest frequency metal, right? But,
yes.
Rochelle, what was interesting about that was we didn't think, platinum's a great word, blah, blah, blah. We actually sat down to write this book 6 years ago, and we put a huge piece of paper on the wall, and we put sticky notes on top of it to say, what are we going to write about? Well, we have to write about peace and love. And so we started putting all of the chapter names up on the board, because then we were going to put quotes underneath it. And guess what? I looked up at what we decided what the content of the book was going to be. And I said to Daniel, doesn't that spell platinum? And it was like this aha moment. And it was like one of my friends said to me, you know what? That password, that platinum was just out there waiting to come in and dance with the world. And I thought, yeah, that's right. It's if we develop a platinum state of mind and live as a platinum being, we're actually having a blissful, enlightened existence, and we would have a very, very different world.
Oh my goodness! It's again. The frequency of our conversation, the frequency of the word platinum, as you say, it's the highest vibrating frequency in the metals, is just amazing. So you guys, all of you out there listening, guys and girls, I want her to just, I'm looking at the book, and platinum is peace, love, awareness, trust, integrity, neutrality, unity, and mindfulness. I want Sandra to share what a platinum life looks like, because I want you guys out there to really be able, you're sitting here listening to us have this nice little conversation. I want you to begin to be able to visualize yourself, freeing yourself from the unconscious blocks that are stopping you from achieving the success that you want to achieve as you travel down your path to bliss. But I also want you to be able to visualize what a platinum life looks like and visualize yourself in that, as Sandra explains to us what exactly that looks like.
It looks like this. You wake up in the morning and you have a smile on your face and you feel joy no matter what is about to happen that day. There's a sense of excitement. It's a new day. There's a sense of well-beingness. You feel healthy, vital. You're able to exercise more, do what you want to do. You are a magnet to the right kind of people who are on the frequency that you're on. And you actually don't even attract into your life the people who are not on your frequency, who do not want to love and support you, because that's what a platinum being does. Remember, when you're living as a platinum being, you are living as this perfect divine true self that you are, and you're showing up in the world in a way that most people don't. And it's super easy. So this life is one of joy and bliss. It's like financial business things are magnetized to you. So the things that you want, you start to manifest on a very, very different level. And quite frankly, you also start not to need or want as much as what you normally need or want, because you get to this point where you are absolutely whole and complete. Because yes, we do teach people how to have an enlightenment experience, but we want to take you beyond enlightenment into wholeness. And once you get into that state, then it's like there is nothing missing. And there's nothing you need to do. All you're doing is you're in this completely revelatory process where you're always revealing more of the wonder of who you are.
Oh, I love it. I mean, it's just, I was like, oh, wow. I think that might just be what I'm doing. I'm experiencing some wonderful things happening. And as you describe what a platinum life looks like, it is totally how I say what a blissful life looks like. It's just beautiful. You feel beautiful. You just, everything feels right. So, and when challenges or things come up that, as I like to say, little roadblocks as we travel down our path to bliss come up, you're able to handle them with integrity and, peace and calmness and a vibrancy that maybe you may not have been able to handle them like that in the past. So it's a beautiful experience, and I love how you describe what a platinum life looks like. Now, you said that if we utilize not only this information that you're sharing with us, but of course the information in CodeBreaker, that we can raise our frequency, and when we do this, we're able to manifest and be successful in a much easier path. So, okay. Can you share with us a tip that we can utilize for raising our frequencies? Other than those beautiful 4 questions that we ask ourselves, is there something else that, say, you might be in the midst of, conversation, or, in a business meeting, with your boss, and you kind of can't say, hold up, let me check out for a minute and ask myself these 4 questions. I'll get back to you in about 2 minutes, right? When I'm grounded and centered and back in my right frequency. What tip can we use to raise our frequency in the context of those types of moments?
Okay, so I think the best way to do that is in CodeBreaker. Because it's a system where we want to master the 8 high frequency aspects of who we are in platinum. The trick is that we have to also master the low frequency blockers to them. So what's really great about the system, there's one page in the book where we show you platinum, what it means, and then on the other side we show you the low frequency blockers to them. In other words, and this is important in that it's going to answer your question. In other words,
I'm on that page right now too, Sandra. That's funny.
Okay, you've got it. Okay, yes. Well, not surprised at all. So the low frequency blocker to peace, as you're reading, is unforgiveness. So if you're having a conversation with somebody and they've just hurt you, you're going to react in any number of ways that are not going to be helpful. But if you go, hang on, I feel resentment here and anger, and I don't want to forgive them. I'm right, they're wrong. So all of a sudden you go, ooh, this is a fantastic signpost. I have completely left the high frequency of peace. So there you go. The minute you go, I feel resentment or I'm not going to forgive them, you're no longer in the high frequency of peace. So you can do a U-turn and get yourself back into peace. The same with, let's say, neutrality, because neutrality is so huge and most people don't even talk about it. But, when you're in neutral in your car, you have the opportunity to decide if you're going to go backwards or forwards. Whereas if you're in your car and you're going forwards and you can't stop and you don't take the foot off the accelerator, you could end up in a lot of trouble. So neutrality is really big. Now, the low frequency blocker to neutrality is attachment, right? Being attached to your stories, attached to your beliefs, ideas, and programs. Because whilst ever you're attached to them, you're going to fight for them. And you're going to make other people wrong. And whilst ever you're doing that, you're no longer in that high frequency of neutrality. So you can see how the system works. This is a really great thing. Like if you're in a meeting with somebody, then you are absolutely going to know, I'm feeling fear. And that is, oh, wow, I no longer love this person. I no longer love the situation. I've got to get myself back into love and appreciation, love and gratitude. And that's why the system's so profound. I had a phone call today from a client, and he started telling me about his disastrous breakup with his wife and what the stepfather was doing to his sons and what the sons were going through, and he wanted me to fix the sons. I said, it's got nothing to do with the sons. It's got everything to do with you. And he said, oh, they're blah, 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 blah. And he started to, judge them. And I said, don't you ever judge people in my presence ever again. I said, I'm not walking through that door with you. And if you want to work with me, you're going to stay on a high frequency level so that we can move through this. I said, the reason you have to stop judging and degrading your ex-wife and her husband, because every time you do that, it's affecting your sons. They might even agree with you with what you're saying, but the fact is that no human being, A, wants to hear that their parents are whatever and hear them being put down, and two, those thoughts, ideas, and what you're saying have a force to drag everybody down, everyone. And he just went, oh wow. And I said, yeah, you have to create such a high frequency love and support for these boys that they feel safe when they're with you, even if they don't feel safe with your ex-wife. And, your ex-wife is going to stay true to her values no matter what you do. But the big crux of this, which a lot of people can relate to, and that is, I pointed out to him, I said, listen, every time you do that, your ego puppy, your ego mind is saying, I'm the good one. I'm the one you should love the most. I'm better, and it's a cry to be better. I said, it's simply your own insecurities that are making you judge and say these shocking things because you want to be the one that they love the most. It was like, kapow.
That's like a grand slam.
And that's what he said. He said, oh my God, I knew I was going to get this when I spoke to you, and thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much. Because he knew that he needed a perspective that was entirely different from where he was at. And, and he came on the phone thinking he was worried about his sons, but in fact, it's like all of us when we're worried about our children, our businesses, and what's happening in them, it's still all about us. And that's so profound. And that's why it's more important to do the personal inner game, inner development work and acknowledge that we're spiritual beings and work on that level, change our frequency, than it is to do anything else.
Wow. amazing. And the story you just shared was absolutely amazing, because I know everyone knows people that are kind of doing what that guy was doing, right? I mean, I know several people that do that and probably don't even realize what they're doing, what the real inner workings with regards to why they're doing it.
Yeah. That's right. They don't realize that there's an unconscious program that's pushing them to say and do these low-frequency things.
Right. And so I think that is just amazing to be able to discover something like that so that you can make a shift. And when you make that shift, you just have a next few steps that are just so much more smoother as you travel down your path to bliss. So I just think that is really, really, really amazing. There's one other thing that I want you to share, because I know we're getting close on our time, and I could talk to you forever. However, I know you're a busy lady, and we're coming close to our time. So, and I want to have time for you to be able to share, what you and Daniel are doing, how people can get the book. You guys listening, have to get your hands on this book. It's a great book. It's a fun read. It's got cute stuff in it. It's not difficult. It's not so woo-woo that you won't be able to understand. You can definitely sit back with your glass of wine, cup of tea, coffee, water, whatever, gin and tonic, whatever your heart's desire, and really read and engage in the book and really leave with the concepts, and they will stick in your mind. That's what's so amazing about it. But I want Sandra to share with us the one thing that people that I've been coming across lately have been having some issues with, and that is unforgiveness. And I know it relates back to the platinum code, or the code platinum in the CodeBreaker. But is there something else that you can share with regards to the frequencies or the block or the unconscious block that keeps people not being able to have forgiveness?
Yeah, forgiveness is a really big deal because it's such a hard thing to do. The ego mind does not want us to forgive because it's a master of separation. So whilst ever we haven't forgiven ourselves or someone else, it's separating us from our own heart, from our own health, well-being. We're allowing other people and circumstances to take up rent-free space in our minds, and we really get on this spiraling roller coaster ride, and it is so bad for our health and well-being. So it's really enlightened self-interest to bring yourself to that point where you can forgive. So just think of these 3 words: radical personal responsibility. And if you think about that, imagine this: every thought that you've ever thought is responsible for your happiness or not, is responsible for what you go through in your life or not. And so therefore, everybody else is reading the script that you have written via your thoughts. So when somebody hurts you, like for instance, when my husband was abusing me from the age of 20 to 27, I had to discover what was going on there. Everyone I love leaves me, so don't love, and so you just don't love. And so I wasn't giving this man the love that I should have been giving, and his frustration and anger was just pouring out. But he was reading my script, even though I didn't tell him that I was on that frequency. He was reading my script, and although yes, he had childhood trauma that made him angry often, but the fact is, it was my script he was reading. And so when you take radical personal responsibility, you have to forgive, because these people are showing you, first of all, they're giving you the opportunity to discover that you have a program running, and what is it? Because let's face it, if you're being abused, and this happens to a lot of women that I've worked with, and that is when they're being abused or in an abusive relationship, they have a program underneath that says, I don't deserve love. I'm not a good person. Now, that they might have been told that from childhood or whatever, but then they're writing that script, and they will always bring into their life somebody who's going to read it. So forgiveness is really about, first of all, you have to forgive yourself, and then you can come to this place. 2 things that you can do, and one is, imagine the people that have hurt you as tiny children, really small, and you pick them up and sit them on your lap, and they ask you, and they say to you, I'm so sorry if I hurt you. I was doing the best I could. I was doing what my mother taught me and my father taught me, and I'm so sorry. Can you forgive me? When a little 3-year-old asks you that, you are going to forgive them. And then when there's the Hawaiian prayer of forgiveness, which I'll give you right now, and that is, when you get to this place, imagine that person in front of you. I do this looking into my own eyes in the mirror, by the way, for myself. when my ego piddles all over me and, I second guess myself. I say, I love you. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. Thank you. And that prayer aligns with the radical personal responsibility as well. So yes, whatever you do. And that, by the way, that's how you change your frequency again. All of these things are about changing your frequency and setting yourself free.
Wow. That's huge. Again, you guys, another nugget of gold that Sandra has shared with us. This is, again, something people pay therapists thousands of dollars to get to this point, and they may do it for years. And here you've got this wonderful nugget of gold to help if you are having problems with forgiveness. And I think at times everyone does, whether they choose to admit it or not. Mm-hmm. Everyone does. I love how you said the radical personal responsibility, or RPR. But just imagine taking that for one, and being responsible, but also imagining the person that you don't have forgiveness for as being that little 3-year-old, that little tiny person, 3-year-old that you sit on your lap and they ask you, please forgive me. I'm only doing what I know how to do. I've only hurt you because I'm operating from the unconscious blocks that I'm not aware of. I don't mean to do it. It's just what I know how to do, and it's kind of like my survival. I step into my survival mode. So please forgive me. And if you imagine yourself with this person that you probably want to punch and step on and kick, light on fire and burn, if you imagine them as a 3-year-old, it really does take the sting out of whatever they've done to you.
And Rochelle, what are we really forgiving? We're really forgiving their unconscious programs, aren't we? Because they're not showing up as the best version of them. We're not actually dealing with the best version of them when things happen like this. We're dealing with their unconscious programs. So it's really a bit of a minefield, and that's why CodeBreaker is this beautiful path and system that you can use to bring yourself back into who you really are. And then you understand why people do what they do. And that's really important, because then you can come to this place of balance and forgiveness.
That's so beautiful. And what a great way to sum up the show. It's been just so beautiful talking to you. I feel your energy and your vibration, and it's just wonderful. I've gotten so many notes that I've taken down that I just think is just truly powerful. Definitely will incorporate them into my life. But I think it's just wonderful information. Like I said, I love the book. And you guys out there listening, Sandra, please share with the listeners how they can get their hands on this book, because it's you guys listening, it's amazing. You have to get your hands. If this is something that you're interested in, you're tired of struggling, you're tired of trying to figure out why you sabotage your own success, why things come up that you don't know where they come from, or where the heck did that come from? Why you don't have forgiveness, or you can't forgive, or you're having difficulty with it? Why you can't step out of fear and step into love? If any of this is resonating with you, then you absolutely have to pick up this book. So, Sandra, please share with the listeners how they can get CodeBreaker.
Well, I want you all to go to CodeBreakerBook.com. The reason why I want you to go there, it's called CodeBreakerBook.com, is because when you go there, one is you can click on a link to get straight through to Amazon to get the book. By the way, and the journal. We created a journal so that when you're going through the system, you can write everything down, all your insights, and you can monitor your shifts. However, there's also those 3 free gifts on that homepage of CodeBreakerBook.com. And I'd love you to all to get them and start using them, because they're going to change your frequency so fast. And, of course, the Bliss Code is just so perfect for you, Rochelle. And then if you want to know how to work with us, we've got some fabulous programs coming up for 2019. One starting in March, goes March to July, and you can join any time. Live event in Marina Del Rey in July. You know, these beautiful programs that we run. And if you go to thebiskinds.com, that's our last name, BISKINDS, thebiskinds.com, then you'll see the events page, and everything is listed as to how you can work with us, get to know more about us. And, of course, please go to the Biskinds Facebook page and Sandra Biskind on Instagram, because, you know, just friend me and just start following, because we give so many wonderful free posts and blogs and information that's just going to support you on your journey into bliss.
Wow. Thank you, Sandra. And I was just going to ask, are you doing anything in the United States? It's funny, I was just
yes,
in Redondo Beach in Southern California. As a matter of fact, I just flew back yesterday. And so I was like, and I was attending an event with another gal from down under who lives in Adelaide Hills. I think it's Algate, Australia, if that's correct. But it's just, you know, just beautiful. So it's like, she's coming to in Marina Del Rey, of all places. I mean, I'm a California girl, so I know LA. Yeah. I'm a Northern California girl. I'm a Silicon Valley girl, but I do know Los Angeles or California very well, and love Marina Del Rey and all those areas. So I'm looking forward to, who knows, you may see me at your event. You never know.
Oh, Rochelle, I would just be so excited for you to come, because I can just tell you right now, it is going to change your life and change your state. Yeah. You will be. I can feel how excited you are about the work now, but boy, it's nothing compared to, you know, working with us online, where we do live calls and then coming to a live event, because that's where magic and miracles happen. Yeah. Sure.
Yes. And okay, give me the date again. July. You said what? I
think it's the July 12th to 14th in Marina Del Rey, and it's on the website.
Okay.
And it's called Activate Enlightenment.
I love it.
But it's about your business and your personal life. It's actually a platinum being training 3 days. So we go through the whole of platinum, and you get to look at what those frequency blockers are doing in your life, how to remove them. You just make this massive, massive shift. The people who have done this particular program have just, you know, they report back, they have miracles happen in their life.
Wow. Well, Sandra, thank you so much. I could talk to you forever. And
yes, I could talk to you forever too.
We could go on forever, but I want to really honor your time. So thank you so much for being a guest on Blissful Living. It has been such a wonderful conversation that we've had, and I really do, you know, I'm an energy person, so I really do feel the energy and the love and the just vibration that, you know, I actually feel like I could go out and run a marathon with all this energy that's flowing through me right now. I'm not going to do that. But I just feel so like, you know, like I'm that woman, so to speak. And so
I do, and I love you already, and I want to thank you. I feel so honored to be on this show with you and to have a chance to speak to your wonderful audience.
Well, thank you so much for, again, blessing us with your time. It has been wonderful. And to my listeners, I want to thank all of you. Sandra shared wonderful nuggets of gold that you can't get in a free therapy session. So just know that you've been blessed with some information that really will help you to be more successful as you travel down your path to bliss. You definitely have to go to the CodeBreakerBook.com, pick up a copy of the book, get the free gifts on the homepage. Definitely pick up the Bliss Code meditation. Falls in line with everything I talk about here on Blissful Living. We really, really do want to bring to you the best way so that every day, every moment of your day that you can own and live and step into your life of bliss, because that is truly how it is meant for us to have our experience here while we're on Earth. So please make sure you go pick up the book on CodeBreakerBook.com, and also check out the Biskind.com website for their live events. As you can see, you know they're going to be transformational, and I would like as many people as possible to go if they can and let Sandra know that you heard about it on Blissful Living. So, also, before I go, I want to thank our sponsors, BlissfulLivingForYou.com. I'm sorry, Blissful Living for You and All Day Cable Inc. Please check out our sponsors. They have wonderful things for you as well. And, of course, I could not do what I do without the energy and the love and all the wonderful well wishes that I get from all of you. And so I want to thank you. And as always, I want to wish you peace to your mind, wellness to your body, and tranquility to your spirit. May you have a fabulous week. And until next time, take really, really good care of yourself. This is the Queen of Feeling Fabulous saying goodbye for now. Bye, everybody.
You can find out more about Rochelle on her website, Rochelle Lawson, Rochele Lawson, Lawson, or at healthhealingwellness.com. Or just click on her websites from the webtalkradio.net page right in front of you. And of course, you'll want to come right back here next week for another episode of Blissful Living. Thanks for joining us.